In 1967, a film hit theaters that was so drenched in glamour, addiction, and off screen controversy that it became a camp classic almost by accident. But hidden beneath its over the top performances and glossy surface was a tragic reality far darker than anything shown on screen. One of its rising stars, Sharon Tate, delivered a quietly haunting performance as Jennifer North, a woman trapped by beauty, exploited by Hollywood, and ultimately cast aside. The role would catapult her into the spotlight, a luminous talent on the cusp of greatness. But fate had other plans. Just 2 years later, Tate's life would be cut short in one of the most infamous crimes in American history, forever freezing her image in time as both a Hollywood dream and a real-life nightmare. Valley of the Dolls was meant to be a sensation. Based on Jacqueline Suzanne's scandalous bestseller, it followed three women as they clawed their way up and spiraled back down the ruthless ladders of fame and fortune. Patty Duke played Neely O'Hara, a talent derailed by pills and pride. Barbara Parkins brought a restrained elegance to Ann Wells, the story's moral center. But it was Sharon Tate as Jennifer North who left the most indelible mark, both in the film and in the hearts of viewers. Directed by Mark Robson, who also helmed such hits as Peyton Place, the film should have been an Oscar darling. Instead, it was critically ravaged. Roger Ebert called it a bloated soap opera. And yet, like so many cinematic misfires, it found new life as a cult favorite, an artifact of an era where high camp collided with real-life tragedy. The making of the film was chaotic from the start. Judy Garland was originally cast as Helen Lawson, a fading diva modeled suspiciously close to Garland herself. Her casting was bold and doomed. Garland, already struggling with addiction, was fired 2 days into filming. She was replaced by Susan Hayward, and the drama on set only escalated. Patty Duke would later say Robson was one of the cruelest directors she'd ever worked with, routinely tormenting Garland by calling her to set at 6:30 a.m., only to delay her scenes for hours. The wardrobe designer, William Travilla, had to create 134 outfits for the film's leading ladies with almost no guidance. He designed costumes based on character insights from the book rather than the incomplete script he was given, but even as the production stumbled, the cast persevered. Barbara Parkins feared being torn apart on camera by Garland, but in their brief time together, Garland was kind and professional. Duke, meanwhile, was frustrated that her character's musical numbers were dubbed. She wanted to sing herself to reflect Neely's descent, but the studio wouldn't hear of it. Richard Dreyfuss made his film debut with an uncredited cameo as a stage manager. Then there was Sharon Tate. Tate was initially reluctant to take the role. She didn't like the book or the script. But she auditioned anyway, sensing it could be her breakout. She was right. Her performance as Jennifer North, a woman who turns to adult films to support her ailing husband, was luminous and tragic. Critics may have panned the film, but Tate earned quiet praise for her role. She became close friends with Jacqueline Suzanne during the shoot, even inviting the author to a dinner party just days before her death. After Valley of the Dolls, Tate's career continued to rise. She starred opposite Dean Martin in the 1968 spy spoof The Wrecking Crew, earning praise for her comedic chops and even training with Bruce Lee for her action scenes. Her final film, the Italian-British comedy 12+1, also known as The 13 Chairs, was completed in early 1969 and released posthumously. Off-screen, Tate's life seemed to shimmer with promise. She had married director Roman Polanski in January 1968, received a Golden Globe nomination that same year, and was 8.5 months pregnant with their first child. Before we continue, a quick shout out to Perfect Fifth. They've got some incredible old school music inspired graphic tees like this VU meter design capturing that perfect analog vibe, or this melting vinyl sunset, a minimalist ode to the golden era of vinyl. And this Star Strings and Stripes, a rock and roll twist that's perfect for the Patriots. And for Golden Throwback viewers, they're giving you an exclusive 20% off with the code THROWBACK20. Check out the link in the description. Now, back to the video. On August 8, 1969, she dined with friends at El Coyote Cafe, her favorite restaurant. That night, they returned to her rented home on Cielo Drive in Beverly Hills. It would be the last night of her life. Shortly after midnight, members of the Manson family cult invaded the home. Sharon Tate, Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, Wojciech Frykowski, and Stephen Parent were all brutally murdered. According to court testimony, Tate begged for her life and that of her unborn baby. She offered to be taken hostage, pleaded to survive just long enough to deliver her child. But her cries were ignored. Susan Atkins, one of the murderers, later testified. She said, "Please let me have my baby." Then Tex Watson said, "Kill her?" And I killed her. I just stabbed her, and she fell, and I stabbed her again. Tate was stabbed 16 times. She died hanging from a rope tied to Sebring, both suspended from a living room beam. Her blood was used to write the word pig on the front door. The crime sent shockwaves through Hollywood, but the initial public reaction was shockingly cold. Some dismissed it as just another Hollywood tragedy. It wasn't until the following night, when Manson's followers killed Leno and Rosemary LaBianca, that true panic set in. The helter-skelter killings would soon be revealed as part of Charles Manson's twisted plan to incite a race war. The tragedy haunted Roman Polanski, who was in London at the time of the murders. Days later, he returned to the blood-stained house with photographer Julian Wasser for a Life magazine spread. Polanski never visited Tate's grave. He fled the country in 1978 after pleading guilty to unlawful sex with a minor and remains a fugitive. The home on Cielo Drive stood for decades as a chilling monument. It was eventually demolished in 1994, but its legend lingered. Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails even recorded an album in the house before a conversation with Tate's sister made him rethink staying there. He took the house's infamous front door with him when he left. Tate's legacy isn't just one of horror and heartbreak. After her death, her mother, Doris Tate, became a passionate advocate for victims' rights, helping to pass the Victims' Bill of Rights in California. Sharon's image lived on through films, from Hilary Duff's chilling portrayal in The Haunting of Sharon Tate to Margot Robbie's revisionist take in Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. As for Valley of the Dolls, the film found its second wind. Despite being critically dismissed, it grossed over $50 million and cemented its place as a pop culture relic. Jacqueline Suzanne may have hated what Hollywood did to her book, famously calling the film a piece of junk, but even she couldn't deny its staying power. The film's over-the-top camp, the emotional chaos, and the pill-popping spectacle became part of its charm. There's irony in how a movie meant to show the dark side of fame became infamous for real-life tragedy. Garland, who was replaced on the film, died just weeks before Tate of a barbiturate overdose. Patty Duke, who played the film's addict, later came to embrace her role. And Sharon Tate, the tragic beauty of the story, became a symbol not just of lost innocence, but of Hollywood's darkest hour. Now it's time to hear from you. What do you think of Sharon Tate's performance in Valley of the Dolls? And how do you think her legacy should be remembered, by her tragic end or the promise she left behind on screen?